What kind of killer writes letters to the police, signs them with a nickname, and then disappears into history without ever being caught? In the autumn of 1888, in the crowded and impoverished district of Whitechapel in London's East End, fear spread through the narrow cobblestone streets like a creeping fog. London at the time was the largest city in the world, the heart of the British Empire. But in Whitechapel, prosperity felt very far away. Gas lamps barely illuminated the alleys at night. Overcrowded lodging houses were filled with the poor and the desperate. Poverty, unemployment, and crime were common. It was in this atmosphere that one of the most infamous mysteries in criminal history began. On August 31st, 1888, the body of Mary Ann Nichols was discovered in Bucks Row, now known as Durwood Street. She had been living in lodging houses and struggling to survive. Her death shocked the local community, but at first it seemed like a tragic yet isolated crime. Just over a week later, on September 8, 1888, another woman, Annie Chapman, was found in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street. The similarities between the two cases began to alarm investigators. Rumors spread quickly through Whitechapel. There was a killer targeting vulnerable women. Then came September 30th, 1888, a night that would later be called the double event. In the early hours, Elizabeth Stride was discovered in Dutfield's yard. Less than an hour later, Catherine Eddowes was found in Mitre Square within the City of London. The proximity in time suggested something terrifying. The killer had struck twice in one night. The final victim, widely attributed to the same killer, was Mary Jane Kelly, discovered on November 9th, 1888, inside her small rented room at 13 Miller's Court. Her death marked what many historians believe was the end of the main series of murders. The press began referring to the murderer as Jack the Ripper. The name came from a letter received by the Central News Agency in late September 1888. The letter, known as the Dear Boss letter, mocked the police and claimed responsibility for the crimes. It ended with a chilling signature: "Yours truly, Jack the Ripper." Whether the letter was truly written by the killer remains debated. Some historians believe journalists or pranksters may have authored it, but the name stuck, and with it, a legend was born. Another letter, known as the From Hell letter, was sent to George Lusk, head of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee. It contained disturbing claims and intensified public panic. The streets of East London were no longer just poor and overcrowded. They were haunted. Investigations were massive for their time. Detectives from the Metropolitan Police and the City of London Police worked tirelessly. Hundreds of suspects were questioned. Vigilante groups patrolled the streets. Newspapers printed daily updates, fueling fear and fascination. Yet, despite the pressure, no one was ever charged. Over the years, countless suspects have been proposed. Some believed the killer was a local butcher. Others suspected a doctor with anatomical knowledge. Some theories even suggested members of the royal family or high society. Modern forensic attempts, including DNA analysis of preserved evidence, have sparked new debates, but none have definitively solved the mystery. Why was he never caught? In 1888, forensic science was primitive. There were no fingerprint databases, no DNA testing. Crime scenes were often contaminated by crowds and curious onlookers. Communication between police divisions was limited, and in a district as chaotic as Whitechapel, anonymity was easy. But perhaps the most unsettling question remains: did he simply stop? Did he die? Was he imprisoned for another crime? Or did he continue under a different name in another place? Jack the Ripper became more than a killer. He became a symbol of urban fear, of media sensationalism, of the dark side of Victorian society. The case marked one of the first times modern mass media turned a murderer into an international headline. Even today, more than 130 years later, investigators, historians, and amateur detectives continue to search for answers. Books are written, documentaries are filmed, theories rise and fall, and still, in the foggy imagination of history, a shadowed figure walks down a narrow London alley, faceless, nameless, forever unknown. Some mysteries fade with time. This one only grows darker. If you're into real mysteries and strange stories that actually happened in the world, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button so I know you want more stories like this, more mysteries, more unanswered questions, more stories that refuse to die. I'll see you in the next one.